ìmọ́tótó ló lè ṣẹ́gun àrùn gbogbo. Ẹ̀fọn tó gbòòrò àtú lọ́wọ́ àwọn tó rẹ̀rọ. Kẹ́tùlẹ̀ gbà kó sàbùn tókò. Cleanliness is essential. Immortalize your potential. On the sound of crimes and your initial.
Mọ́tótó borí àrùn mọ́lẹ̀. Àṣẹ ní ká ṣe lójú. Àyíká àlàbòyún. Bẹ̀rẹ̀ aláboyún ẹ̀ fọwọ́ wọ́wọ́. Ẹ jẹ́ ká ṣètọ́jú àyíká àlàbòyún.
You wanna live long and stay strong. Walk it off when you wanna live long and stay strong.
All right, you're still listening to 88.1 Smash FM in the city of Abeokuta. Very good morning to you once again. Check your time. It is 6 minutes past 9 a.m. And of course, you're welcome to Healthy Living on 88.1 Smash FM. I'm your host. I am Adeboye Oluwafemi. All right, so the last time we came on air to talk about health, we talked about taking care of our teeth, dental care. But today on Healthy Living, we'll be talking about the importance, the essence, and everything we need to know about breastfeeding. Today, August 1st, it was World Breastfeeding Week, which ended Monday, August 7th. So, the whole world has been celebrating World Breastfeeding Week. So today, this morning on Healthy Living, we have in the studio family Dr. Olaoluwa Bolade from FMC to talk about, the essence and importance and everything we need to know about breastfeeding. Good morning to you, Doctor. Good to have you again.
Good morning. It's good to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us. So, we know that Breastfeeding Week, which is WBW, is a global campaign to raise awareness and, galvanize actions on themes related to breastfeeding. The WBW is celebrated every 1st to 7th of August in commemoration of the 1990 Innocenti Declaration. The WBW started in 1992 with annual themes including healthcare systems, women and work, the International Code of Marketing of Breast Milk Substitutes, community support, ecology, economy, science, education, and human rights. Since 2016, WBW is aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals. In 2018, the World Health Assembly resolution endorsed the WBW as an important breastfeeding promotion strategy. So, the theme for the World Breastfeeding Week for 2023 is Let's Make Breastfeeding and Work. Let's make breastfeeding and work. We understand that there's been, this surrounding controversy regarding, exclusive breastfeeding and work. But all of this we will be, talking about right here on Healthy Living. So quickly, let's dive into the show. All right. So, Doctor, can you explain the benefits of breastfeeding for both the mother and baby? We know this, but, just for emphasis purpose.
Okay, thank you very much. The importance of breastfeeding, generally, we cannot overemphasize it. It's quite a lot. It has some benefit to the mother, to the child, and to the family as a whole. So we can start with the mother. For the mother, breastfeeding helps to provide a very cheap means of feeding the child.
Right.
So it is inexpensive. And then breastfeeding also, it's convenient for a mother to afford it, to buy from, as in instead of buying
The regular
the
food.
regular food, exactly, so you can get to just breastfeed the child easily. Then in the process of breastfeeding, it helps to maintain the shape of the mother, in the sense that the mother does not add up excessive fat.
Okay.
So eventually the mother can go back to the exact shape
Is
she
it possible
was.
to go back to that shape?
Yes, it's possible,
Oh,
of
really?
course,
Okay.
with exercise, but then it's
Okay.
possible with
Okay.
adequate and exclusive breastfeeding.
Okay.
Then also it also helps to it helps to for the mother to be able to um have what we call lactational amenorrhea. That is, in the presence of breastfeeding, then the mother would not be menstruating, invariably preventing the mother from having another pregnancy. So it helps with that. It's like a form of contraception,
Oh,
even though
really?
it's not 100% accurate. But when you are breastfeeding, the hormones regulate it in a way that you are not menstruating, and
Okay.
once you are not menstruating, you are not going to be able to conceive another child. So it helps with what we call the lactational amenorrhea, which eventually helps with contraception. So it also helps to to create this mother and child bond in the process
Okay.
of breastfeeding. That emotional balance with the mother and then the child. They can bond very well, and they get to grow that loving environment for
Oh,
each
wow.
other.
Okay.
So let's go to the child now.
Right.
The importance of breastfeeding to the child. Of course, it provides the basic nutrients that the child needs. That's the first thing. So whatever that is required for the child to grow, to attain all the developmental milestone, is actually sufficient in the breast milk. And then it also helps the child to prevent any diseases
Okay.
relatively, because the
Right.
breast milk contains the likes of lactoferrins, the immunoglobulins. Those are like major components that
Okay.
prevents diseases. They are
Okay.
like antibodies that fight
Okay.
against diseases.
Right.
So it's
Right.
also, that's why they will say that a well breastfed child hardly have any cause to come to the hospital, because the basic nutrients that they need, and also the antibodies, the all the white blood cells that they need to fight the breast milk. So it also helps the child to grow this what we call the intellectual components, like
Okay.
they'll say breastfed child is generally like bright and
Intelligent. Right.
intelligent. Yeah,
Okay.
so it's also the the neurons, the brain development. Of course, they are developed even before birth, but of course it helps to optimize the function of the brain. So of course, a well breastfed child is usually a brilliant child.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Please go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay. So another advantage is that the breast to prevent the likes of um a child having developmental dysfunction. That
Okay.
is, there won't be cases of a child having kwashiorkor, beriberi. So it
Okay.
prevents against malnutrition in general, because it comprises of the right components and at the right proportion.
Okay, so breast milk consisting of antibodies helping to fight this kind of things.
Yeah.
But how about, we've seen cases where even mothers are malnourished and then they are still breastfeeding. Will that breast milk still contain that nutrient?
Well, it's you can give what you don't have.
Okay.
It's important that for a mother who is breastfeeding, you obviously have to eat adequately. You have to eat a balanced diet. You have to eat food that is rich in vitamins, in in proteins, balanced diet in general, even carbohydrates. It's all needed, and of course adequate fluid. And of course, beyond that, beyond what you are eating, to psychological, the psychological place of the mother, would put it like that, like the mindset of the mother, the psychological state of the mother.
The mental
Yeah,
state,
is
right?
very much important in
Okay.
how the woman can be able to supply adequate breast milk for the child.
Okay, interesting. All right. Right about now, we're live on Facebook. So if you have any question regarding breastfeeding, please go on to our Facebook page at Smash 88.1 FM. Drop your questions, and of course, our doctor is right here to read to answer these questions on the show. Smash 88.1 FM at Smash 88.1 FM, 08141559511 or 09048881881. So, I mean, Doctor, you were talking about bonding earlier, mother and child bond when when they are breastfeeding their child. So, would you like to tell us how breastfeeding contributes to the bonding between mother and their babies?
Okay. Basically, when you want to achieve appropriate breastfeeding, there's something that we call attachments.
Okay.
Like there are some certain position in which a mother has to be for the child to be properly attached, and by the time all of that is achieved, there is no way that you and the child will not bond. So what am I talking about now? For breastfeeding, you have to ensure that the child is on the same level as you are, like the child is on an horizontal level
Okay.
as you are, as in to the breast, I would
Right,
rather say.
right.
Then the child's abdomen would be touching your own abdomen, and the child will be looking into your face. And of course, at some time, the child will even smile, and then you smile back at the child. So of course, those are the parts where you bond. And sometimes even some child, when they already have teeth and all, they bite, and then you're like, don't do that
Right.
and all of that. So it just helps to bond. And of course, you know that this is the woman that always give me breast. So
Right.
of course, whoever gives you food, aren't you going to be close to the person?
Definitely,
Of course.
definitely.
So that's how it works.
All right then, 08141559511 or 09048881881. Those are the studio lines to call to be part of the show this morning. So now let's talk about some challenges that are faced by new mothers, especially. Are there any challenges or difficulties that new mothers might face when it comes to breastfeeding? I mean, they're still new in that system. So what are the challenges they'll face?
Okay, we have a few of that. First of all, the common problem that some people would have is they cannot even lactate at all. Like they are not even producing the milk at all, and then you're like, okay, so what's wrong? So most of the time, you just need to probably talk to the mother, and then because some of them, the trauma they go through while giving birth is what makes them feel that no, this pain is too much. Why am I going to exactly give my child breast milk? Because that psychological effect on them, and then they are just like they are not interested. And of course, like we said, this thing is hormone based, and at the same time is controlled by the hypothalamus, both the oxytocin and those are the hormones that are involved, the oxytocin and then the prolactin.
Okay.
So if the mother states of mind is not prepared to actually breastfeed the child, then that will be an issue to lactating. So as the health professional that is around, whether it's the matron or the nurses or any medical personnel that is around them, would now counsel them and then help them with the psychic, helping them to actually to be able to initiate breastfeeding. At the same time, they can also have nipple problems, like
Okay.
cracked nipples. They could have bruisings on their nipple. They could have inverted or flat nipple. So all of this are what needs to be addressed. So most time before breastfeeding is initiated, usually the nurses would inspect their breast and ensure that and be sure
For new mothers?
yes, for new mothers,
Okay.
to just ensure that the nipple is in the right shape. Even sometimes during antenatal,
Right.
they actually get to check their nipples just in preparation for
Right, right.
the child's birth. So sometimes they have cracked nipples and all. If it is inverted, there are ways where you can correct all of that. So apart from nipple problem, they can also have breast engorgement. Of course, that one happens after they've already initiated breastfeeding.
Okay.
So at some points, because of it's like a progression. Sometimes because they have cracked nipples, some people will now decide not to breastfeed any longer. So in the process of not breastfeeding, the breast will now be so much filled with breast milk, eventually leading to breast engorgement. So
Okay.
from the breast engorgements, of course, to lead to so much pain, and at the same time the breast milk will not be coming out adequately. So from that breast engorgement, that can lead to the duct, the breast milk comes out through a duct.
Right.
And of course, if something is engorged, like it's not coming out and it's just all stuck there, it will not lead to all those ducts, they'll be clogged, like when your sink is clogged and then
Right,
it's not coming
right.
out, it's as so it gets clogged. So from there, it can lead to infection of the cells there, which you call mastitis, like inflammation of
Okay.
the breast glands. So from there can be a bacterial infection or a candida infection. And of course, some people can end up even having as much as abscess which has to be drained.
What's abscess?
I say that's pulse.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So some people get to have pulse and then which now has to be drained. So luckily, if it is just one breast, of course, the person can continue breastfeeding
On
on
the
the
other.
other breast.
Okay, you
So,
mentioned about cracked nipple earlier.
Yes.
What exactly causes it?
okay. Well, sometimes cracked nipple is from poor attachment. And I mean, I've explained attachment earlier, like how you breastfeed.
Okay.
Attachment in the sense that the child, when you're breastfeeding, is not just the nipple that enters into the baby's mouth.
Okay.
Is the nipple and the areola of the breast. The
Right.
areola is a dark
Right,
side,
right,
surrounding the nipple. So those part has to be in the mouth of the child,
Okay.
and the child's mouth has to be widely opened.
Hmm.
So if all of these are not like initiated, then it means that there is no good attachment. Hence, this can actually cause cracked nipples. Like the nipples you see, like it's not. It's you just see like when crack, like when something is cracked, so it's like that, and it's quite painful.
So okay, so someone who hasn't had childbirth can have cracked nipple.
Maybe I it's possible that somebody who has not who is not breastfeeding can have cracked nipple.
Okay.
If you probably maybe we should not even talk about whether maybe someone that is not even breastfeeding at all.
Okay.
Of course, if you're having how's it called now, like if you're with your partner and then he's sucking your breast and all of
Right.
that, so it can actually
Okay.
cause
All right.
cracked
All
nipple
right.
too.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, we mentioned something. I mean, I asked a question earlier, about a woman who probably is malnourished and then she wants to breastfeed while you said you can't give what you do not have. Is there a way, because we know, I mean, the situation of the country, how hard it is for even, those that are not even mothers to feed, right? So is there a way a woman who wants to breastfeed, she's in that state, can actually get supplements? Is it advisable to get supplements,
Well, during breastfeeding, there are a number of medications that we do not advocate.
Okay.
So usually we just give um basically just multivitamins,
Okay.
which is normal. That is usually given after delivery, because during delivery there is blood loss and all. So we just give those multivitamins to replenish that blood loss and to aid production of another blood cells, just to optimize the woman. But beyond that, if the woman does not have any premorbid condition before now, like there's really no need for any medication. What is important is just to eat healthy. And I understand that the economy is actually hard, but at the same time, eating healthy is not in quantity. It's also not in all the shiny stuffs and all.
Spicy food.
It's exactly. So it's just basically what you can afford in
Eat
the
right.
right proportion,
Right.
and also in the right quality. Fruits, even if it's just something you can get around. Probably if you have a pawpaw tree close to you, just get pawpaw with oranges and all, vegetable.
Right,
Apparently, of course, I understand that people are really in different socioeconomic status,
Yeah.
but still, if you want to eat right, it's actually possible. So it's not just about eating all the rice and thinking that you're eating healthy.
All right. Thank you so much for that one. Before we go on a short break, I want us to look at some factors, right? This has been like a debate over time. How long should a mother breastfeed her baby, and what factors should be considered when making that decision?
Okay. So
Because I started with the whole drama between the exclusive breastfeeding. A lot of
Yeah.
people say, "Oh, I have to work. You cannot do exclusive breastfeeding. I have to just merge it with the regular food and all of that." So now, how long should a mother breastfeed her baby, and what factors should be considered in doing so?
Okay, so let me start with telling us what exclusive breastfeeding is all about.
All right.
So according to WHO, actually, it is defined as a way of giving no other food or drink, not even water, in addition to the breast milk for 6 months, except for ORS, which is for diarrhea.
Okay.
Except for ORS, medicine, vitamins, or mineral drops, and then even if you're expressing the breast milk is permitted.
Okay.
So it has to be 6 months with giving just only breast milk. That is actually what we call exclusive breastfeeding. So if that can be done, then you can be sure that you have done exclusive breastfeeding. However, at the end of 6 months, you can now start what we call the artificial feeding,
Okay.
or we can also call it complementary feeding, in the sense that you will now commence other foods with breastfeeding. That is, you can commence the other subtle series with breastfeeding.
Okay.
So you can start the child on, some, let's say, some homemade pap or millets with that breastfeeding. But the first 6 months is strictly breast milk, not even water. That's the mistake people do. They'll say, okay, are you doing exclusive breastfeeding? Then you will, yes, I'm doing exclusive breastfeeding, and I'm also giving water. Once you give water in the first 6 months, it's no longer exclusive breastfeeding. It is strictly just breast milk. However, after that 6 months, you can now start giving breast milk and other substitutes, other food substitutes for the child. However, it depends on the kind of work that you're doing. Sometimes some people can go as far as 2 years to breastfeed and more. So it's dependent on that individual. What is recommended for everyone is that exclusive breastfeeding of 6 months, after which we can achieve up to a year, fine. If you can do up to 1 year, 6 months, good. And of course, if you can do it up to 2 years, that's fantastic.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, there's no issue doing up to 2 years?
No, there's no issue. It's fine. 2 years, doing up to 2 years, of course, with other complementary feeding, because at that time the child is already taking as at 2 years the child is already taking all this and swallow, amala,
At what point is it safe to start introducing, the swallow, the regular amala, and all of that?
As at 1 year, you can start.
1 year,
yeah, you can start giving them swallow with ewedu,
right,
and then
something easy to swallow.
Exactly. So it's not. I didn't say ever anyway. Something easy to digest. Majorly, something easy to digest, and the amala should not be thick as the regular adult amala. Should be as soft and succulent, so that they can easily digest it.
Okay. So, all right. 08141559511 or 09048881881. Those are the studio lines to call to be a part of the show this morning. If you'd like to ask our doctor any question, please feel free to forward your question on our studio lines or go to our Facebook page. Drop your comment on our Facebook page right there, and we'll read them out from here on the show. But right about now, we'll go on a very short break, and when we come back, you're still listening to Healthy Living on Smash 88.1 FM. Stay tuned.
Yes, the Alert 5 for 5 promo is here again. Now, even more explosive than ever before. Over 90 million naira to be won. You can't afford to miss this season of excitement. To qualify, fund your account with 5,000 naira. Maintain an average account balance of at least 5,000 naira monthly. Make a minimum of 5 transactions monthly on Alert or *945 hash. And just like that, you could be 1 million naira richer. So, download Alert today or transact without internet on *945 hash anytime, anywhere. Terms and conditions apply. Wema Bank, with you all the way.
Are you bothered about how to move your business to the next level or how to connect to the right audience for your product and services? Smash 88.1 FM is right here to bring your wishes to reality. We create a platform to project your small and large scale businesses as well as all your announcements to the world at affordable prices. For more information, contact our marketing team via 0813 497 8786, 0803 497 8786, or visit our office at Oketemidire off Abiola Way, Abeokuta, Ogun State. Come over to Smash 88.1 FM and let's bring your product, services, messages, and announcements to your target.
Welcome, Daddy. What would you like to have?
Give me afang and the correct swallow.
How about you, Auntie?
Egusi and the better swallow.
You can call my sister Menjeda and the correct swallow, right?
You know what's up. Golden Penny Semovita.
That's right. Golden Penny Semovita is my soup's first choice. Made with premium wheat and enriched with vitamins. It's the right combo for Nigerian soups. Golden Penny Semovita, my soup's first choice.
It's your chance to be a millionaire. Win big in the Hope Wallet promo. Hope PS Bank is giving away 2 million naira every week. Amazing, right? Open a Hope Wallet account and get 500 naira welcome bonus. Here's the best part. Transact 5 times or more in a week and start your journey to be a millionaire by winning 50,000 naira weekly. As Hope Bank gives away 2 million naira every week to existing and new customers. The more you transact, the higher your chances of winning. To get started, dial *569*9# or download the Hope Digital app or visit www.hopepsbank.com. Terms and conditions apply. Hope, succeed. Hope Bank always.
Keep listening to 88.1 Smash FM.
Ribi, nice. Atike wa arabambi.
You wanna live long, you wanna stay strong. You wanna live long and stay strong. Ogun bílẹ̀ afúnni ni wọ́n sọ, olóyún abẹ́rẹ́, láì ṣiṣẹ́ abẹ́, ewé ń jẹ́, ogun jẹ́. Má ṣe lògùn without doctor's prescription. Mo ń tẹnumọ́, call on doctor's attention if you need solution. Mo ń tẹnumọ́. Too much is given, much is expected. Ìlera lọ́rọ̀.
Ìwọ Sátidé aláboyún ẹ̀ múra o. Túbọ̀ bó bá ṣe bí ẹni gbà rẹ̀ àbíkọ́jú máa ṣú. Aláboyún oníbòmí náà tó lé lọ́kọ̀ ọjà sí ibi jù. Orí pélé ra lọ́rọ̀ o. Àgbo ṣe dáadáa bá aláboyún ṣùgbọ́n ẹ má ṣe ṣèyí ó sọ sílẹ̀ o. Ẹ ò gbọ́dọ̀ dókun o. Láìsí àṣẹ dókun o.
Ìmọ́tótó ló lè ṣẹ́gun àrùn gbogbo. Ẹ̀fọn tó gbòòrò àtún lọ́wọ́ àwọn tó rẹ̀rọ. Kẹ́kùn lè gbà kó sàfún tókò. Cleanliness is essential. Immortalize your potential. Understand the crimes and your initial.
Mọ́tótó borí àrùn mọ́lẹ̀. Àṣẹ ní ká ṣe lójú. Àyíká aláboyún máa ń bá. Bẹ̀rẹ̀ aláboyún ẹ̀ fọwọ́ wọ́. Ẹ jẹ́ ká ṣètọ́jú àyíká aláboyún.
You wanna live long and stay strong.
All right, you're still listening to 88.1 Smash FM, and you're still on to Healthy Living right here on 88.1 Smash FM. And this morning, we're taking a look at breastfeeding, the importance of breastfeeding. We understand that the WBW was it started last week Tuesday, and it ended this Monday, 7th of August. World Breastfeeding Week started on the 1st of August and ended on the 7th of August. So this morning, we're taking a look at the importance, the essence of breastfeeding. And joining me this morning has been Dr. Olaoluwa Bolade from FMC Belkuta. So still talking about everything we need to know about breastfeeding, doctor. Let's look at the epidemiological parts of breastfeeding, the exclusive breastfeeding and everything we need to know about breast milk.
Okay, so globally, 40% of the infants are exclusive breastfed, and it's expected that by 2025 that percentage should have increased to like 50%.
Okay.
So if we look at Sub-Saharan Africa, presently we have 36% that are being exclusive breastfed actually.
Okay.
Then in Nigeria we have 29% that are being exclusive breastfed, and that 29% is far from the target, which is 50%, which is in 2025, and that's is part of what the theme is saying, that for the fact that you are breastfeeding does not mean that you should not be able to achieve your workspace or secure your workspace. And I think that's one of the good things that federal government has been able to do to ensure that after delivery you get 6 months off, so that you can at least achieve that exclusive breastfeeding without any excuse. So it's a very good initiative. I think before it was 3 months, but now you have 6 months. 6 months of monthly, so which makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
That's beautiful. 08141559511 or 09048881881. Yes, those are the studio lines to call, or you can join us on our Facebook page at Smash 88.1 FM. Drop your comments there and we'll read them out right here on the show at Smash 88.1 FM. All right, so still talking about breast milk. Doctor, are there any substance that you think can stimulate breast milk coming out?
Okay, well, basically what is important is to, like we've said earlier, to eat adequately and take balanced diet with adequate fluids. However, we see it here and there that people take a lot of stores and substances that they feel that helps with the breast milk. Example is some people take gin, they take alcohol. If you're not careful, right on the word, that will be happening without you even being aware of that.
Okay.
So they do that, and sometimes some people think palm wine, right on the word, like trying to ensure that they produce breast milk. But apparently, it has not been scientifically proven that all these things actually works. So what is just important is your state of mind that I've said, which is your psychological state of mind.
Right.
And eating adequately and taking enough fluid, and you'll be able to produce just enough breast milk for the child.
All right, so talking about that palm wine, and a woman taking palm wine during breastfeeding and gin,
of course it's not advisable, because alcohol is not what you want, because whatever you take apparently
affects the child.
Some of the constituents enters into the breast milk, and so it's not advisable at all.
Okay, so with that, let me bring this question to you. What are those popular common misconceptions about breastfeeding that you would like to address with this opportunity?
Okay, some people believe that because they are underage, like some young girls, exactly, that give birth, they feel that because they are underage that they cannot breastfeed, and sometimes it's also hard for them to initiate lactation. So they just have that mindset that because of that they cannot breastfeed, which is not true. Then also some people believe that once they do CS that they are not supposed to breastfeed.
That's a cesarean section.
Yeah, that's a cesarean section. So some of them have this mindset, and of course some people are not prepared to actually do that CS, so they just use all of that to just feel that no, I'm not going to breastfeed this kind of a child. So and some people even feel that some child with some visible disorders, probably they have a particular kind of look, they just feel that those kind of child that have any pathology or any disease, or just looking not like a normal child, they feel that they're not supposed to breastfeed.
The so-called abnormal child.
Exactly. So majorly, it's if there is a reason why you should not breastfeed a child, it's usually the call of the medical personnel to say that, okay, for now we are not going to breastfeed this child for so reason and all.
Okay. All right. 0814-155-9511 or 090-4888-181 0814-155-9511. Doctor, does depression affect breastfeeding?
Well, just as we have said, if someone is depressed, obviously you're not in a good state of mind. The mental health is not optimal. So if you're depressed, of course, it's going to influence the production of prolactin and oxytocin, which is responsible for production and the milk ejection. So if someone is depressed, and then of course it would solely, we've seen it again and again, where mother is not happy, probably the child is sick, the child has to be admitted into in the neonatal intensive units, and then they feel like, okay, they don't have the money to provide for the care of the child, so they are that state depressed, and then at the end of the day you're asking them, okay, we need breast milk for your child, and they say they are not lactating just because they are actually depressed. And some is just postpartum depression from the delivery, just because of that they cannot lactate.
So I mean, I don't know, I've seen a lot of people complain about postpartum depression. How exactly, like what exactly happens?
It's basically the trauma, I would say. Some people
of childbirth.
For some people it's not only even the childbirth, it's actually the whole process of that pregnancy, that 9 months. Some people don't have it nicely in first trimester. Some people are just basically having excessive vomiting. That's what we call them hyperemesis gravidarum. They're just always vomiting, every early morning sickness. Apparently that's what people call it. So they're always not feeling well,
not themselves.
Exactly. When they get to second trimester, that's when they are they just want to eat just anything and anything. Some will be trainers, block, and all of that. They just have all sort of funny stuffs, and then they're not. Some people will just be very highly irritable. So it's just a roller coaster of emotions, and that's because hormones are just sprouting here and there. So that progression makes some people just be like, why is my life like this? And of course, so many women, I think there's a trend on Instagram now where people just show before pregnancy, during pregnancy, and then you see how they look so different. So some people doesn't like the fact that the shape are disfigured, they look like this and that, so they just get depressed from there. And then of course by the time they're not in labor, which is like described as the worst pain of most women, and they just feel like, no, why am I going through this pain just because I want to birth a child? And of course there are so many psychological circumstances that could be around it. Maybe they don't even have a supportive family, or a supportive husband, and all of that, or maybe even finances, like, okay, they don't have enough to provide for the child that is coming, even for the fact that they are not even prepared. Sometimes some pregnancies are not planned. So all of those factors just get them overwhelmed, and then by the time they give birth to the child, actually when you see your child, ideally, like, you forget all the pain that you just went through in the last 10 minutes. But then for some people, they just don't get over it, and eventually they just fall into depression. And there is also what we call postpartum psychosis, to the extent that some people actually start they actually become psychotic just because of childbearing. So it can be that bad.
Having suicidal thoughts?
Yeah, of course, some people can get to that bad, like total shutdown.
I think it's I mean, this is a wake-up call to every partner, every man out there. Support your woman. That's 9 months, is in as much as both of you decided to have that baby, but then you should support her in that very process. You're still listening to Healthy Living on 88.1 Smash FM. Doctor, over time I've seen women, probably because of their kind of work, very difficult schedule they have, they're like, okay, I'm just going to pump out the breast milk, just reserve it somewhere, and then keep it for the child so it can get the milk at the end of the day. Is this safe, pumping out the milk?
Yeah, it is safe. There's nothing wrong with pumping out milk. And in fact, in advanced country we see people where they actually produce milk for that child that their mother could not actually get to feed them. So there's nothing wrong with actually pumping the breast milk. It is good in a sense that it even helps, because even the milk contains, we have what we call the fore milk and the hind milk. And most times, when a child is having malnutrition,
okay,
as an infant, probably it's because the mother is not breastfeeding the child with both the fore milk and the hind milk. But with pumping, you are going to be sure that you are going to pump out both the fore milk and the hind milk, because both part of the milk is actually essential for the total growth and development of the child. So the point is that when you pump the milk, is a preservation that matters. So if the preservation is gotten right, that's beautiful. However, there's something that people do randomly. After pumping it, they will now put the breast milking feeding bottles. As much as people think that feeding bottles is good, it is actually a very it's like one of the leading cause of neonatal infection for a child, or an infant coming down with sepsis.
But once it's sterile, isn't it safe?
That's the point. Because ideally, most people do not understand. Like, if you ask them now that for your child, how many feeding bottles do you have, they'll say, I have max, they'll say I have 2. But ideally, for a single child, you need a minimum of 12 feeding bottles.
12 feeding bottles.
12 feeding bottles.
Wow.
So and people doesn't get it, because ideally you're supposed to feed a neonate every 2 hours. If it is every 2 hours, that's 12 times in 24 hours, right? So each bottle at each time, because you need to sterilize the bottle for another 24 hours with hot water. So the idea is that it's possible for infections to hide around those, the way the structure of a bottle, no matter the way you sort of like wash the bottle, there are still so many organisms hiding here and there. And of course, if the child is feeding with that, before you know it, the child comes down with sepsis. Some they would have what we call necrotizing enterocolitis. So we don't want all of this to happen. So most time we even prefer when you just use cup and spoon to actually feed a child over feeding bottle.
Cup and spoon.
Yes, cup and spoon. There is a very small small cup and then small spoon that is just adequate. And then some people like, with the child collect it. So the child is going to collect it. Of course, you don't rush such a child, but at the same time the child is going to collect it. It's way better than actually using feeding bottle. And sometimes you can use syringe too. And of course, when you use it, you can as well just dispose the syringe. But feeding bottles, if you know that you are going to use feeding bottles, then you must be ready to buy 12 feeding bottles.
12
for
feeding
a single child.
For a single child?
Yes, for a single
So
child.
if we have like 3 plates,
then you are going to buy 12 times 10. 12 times 3, that's 36.
Okay, trust me, that's not funny.
Yeah.
Even having a child is not even it's quite expensive.
Of course.
All right, 08141559511 or 09048881881, 08141559511 or 09048881881. All right, you'd like to add something?
Okay, so when we're talking about pumping the breast milk and all, it's important to understand that after you've pumped, the storage is very important, because it's not just about pumping and then you dump it in. Actually, the human milk can survive at room temperature for 6 to 8 hours. Anything beyond that, no matter how much of milk that you have pumped, you have to discard it. So if you are not ready to store it appropriately, then it's not worth it. So you can't just pump a lot and then dump it somewhere and then you just think that, okay, tomorrow I'll give the child that same milk. No, it doesn't work like that. So in room temperature, 6 to 8 hours. For if you are putting it in a cooler bag with ice, then it can stay for
in the fridge.
No, I mean a cooler bag with
because
ice.
We've seen a lot of people put it in the fridge.
In the fridge. We are going there. I'm going gradually.
All right.
We said room temperature 6 to 8 hours.
Okay.
But if you want to use all these insulated cooler bags with ice, it can stay for 24 hours. But if you are putting it in a refrigerator of about 40 degree Fahrenheit, then that can stay for 5 days in a refrigerator. Then if you are putting it in a freezer, then that can stay up to 2 weeks.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
In a freezer. But if it is now a deep freezer, it can stay up to 3 to 12 months. Yeah, it can stay that long. So it depends on the storage. If there's appropriate storage for the breast milk, then you are good to go.
Okay, so in a situation where, this is Nigeria, where even the PHC and sometimes just, they forget us sometimes in areas that even the fridge is not even cold at all. So if a breast milk is pumped out right now, it can stay for how many hours?
6 to 8 hours.
6 to 8 hours in room temperature. All right. So now let's talk about this. What are those tips that, or should I say techniques that can help mothers to ensure a safe and sane breastfeeding experience?
Okay, it's basically we'll start with hygiene.
Okay.
They should ensure that they are clean. Whenever they want to breastfeed the child, they must wash their hands before even touching that child. For the fact that you are the mother does not mean that you can always, because you are obviously carrying germs from toilet, from kitchen, from here and there. So you must always wash your hands before carrying the child, and of course before breastfeeding the child.
Okay.
Every time, no matter the number of attempts, you just have to always wash your hands. Minimum, you need to have a hand sanitizer to always sanitize your hand. Then also, to ensure effective breastfeeding, you have to ensure that there is a good attachment, which we've talked about, that the child's mouth must be widely open, and then the chain of the baby must touch the breast, and then the majority of the areola must be inside the mouth of the child. Then the positioning too, we've talked about attachment. So for the positioning, the baby's head must be in line with his body.
Okay.
And it must also, the baby must be towards the mother, looking eyeball to eyeball.
Eyeball to eyeball.
And then the baby's abdomen should be touching
The
that
mother's
of the mother.
abdomen.
Exactly. And the baby should also be properly supported with the one of the arm of the mother.
Okay. All right. I mean, talking about arms being supported, I've seen mothers, just, leave their babies to whatever they are doing, and then they continue with what they're doing. And I'm like, okay, even though I'm breastfeeding, I still have to do some other things. My husband has to eat, and they still have to fix the other children. But I think it's very, very safe and very, very good for us to know that this is some of the experience that we should know in terms of breastfeeding. But let's just look at some of the cultural and societal factors that influence a mother's decision to breastfeed, and how has this challenges also how has this addressed some of these challenges?
Okay, sorry, can you come again?
All right, so what are the cultural or societal factors that may influence a mother's decision to breastfeed, and how can we address these challenges? We've seen societal some misconceptions and societal influence on breastfeeding. Okay,
basically we'll start with the father. I think there are some good cultures. I will start with that.
Okay.
That normally they will say that a woman that just gave birth should not go out, and it's not because she cannot go out, but basically because if you are indoor, it gives you that attachment with your child, and then you are just you are with your child. You can always breastfeed and all of that. However, after saying that, which is the one good thing, we have situations where grandmothers in particular will prepare all sorts of herbal concussion for the mother.
All right.
And before you know it now, as you're taking the herbal concussion, don't forget, like what we said, whatever is garbage in, garbage out. The content of this herbal concussion is also going to the child. And what people don't understand is anything,
even they bathe the child with the herbal concussion.
Absolutely. Even whatever that is beyond breast milk, for let's say relatively an infant, whatever that is beyond giving breast milk is actually beyond you, no matter who you are. If you're not a medical personnel, if you have any course to start giving whatever, you are already going overboard, and whatever you are doing, you're already putting the child's life at a risk, because even about concussion for an adult, it has so much impact on the kidneys and the liver. Talk less of an infant who is just growing, and then you are even if for the fact that you are beating the child, we don't forget that the skin too is a means of serving medications, because
it has pores.
So from there, whatever you're using to bathe the child is still going to be taken up, and then the child can also have to metabolize all of that. So whatever is beyond breastfeeding, whether you're the mother or the mother-in-laws, whatever that is beyond you saying breastfeed this child is already beyond you. Just take it or leave it. So all this herbal concussion for the mother so that something can suck up, all this traditional this thing that they say, you mop with hot water after giving birth so that the abdomen can
be cleansed.
Exactly. Like maybe the abdomen can
the clotted blood in the belly.
Then so that the abdomen can go back to its shape. All those things doesn't work.
Oh really?
The most
I've seen a lot of people say, oh, you have to sit on hot
water and all of that. It
doesn't work.
The process of breastfeeding itself makes all of those things just go back to its now. Like I said, going back to your natural shape and size prior to the pregnancy. The oxytocin that is being ejected when breastfeeding, this responsibility of that oxytocin is to cause contraction of the breast glands. That's one. At the same time, it's causing contraction on the uterus, like that is the womb. That's what we call the womb. So as it's contracting the womb, every remaining deposit, whatever tissue, blood, is also contracting it. And of course, after delivery, of course, pregnant, those that have delivered already, they still have to use pad, because there'll be some, we call it local, it still comes out after them giving birth. But it gets clearer. But the process of actually breastfeeding helps with that, because as you are breastfeeding, oxytocin is ejected, it's helping with the breastfeeding. At the same time, it's helping the uterus to contract, and whatever the content is in there, it comes out till it becomes absolutely clear. So you don't have to use hot water and inflict pain on yourself. Some people will even sustain burn in the process of using hot water to burn themselves and all of that. There's no need, just breastfeed. Like, breastfeeding is like the solution to all of this. Of course, after you've initiated breastfeeding and all of that, you can also do exercise, which is just appropriate. Then you get
but exercise can start to when?
It can start as much as you are fit. It's not rigorous exercise. It's just whatever you can do within the house. If it's just take a walk and all of that, and subsequently feel you are actually fit to do the more rigorous exercise. But it's dependent on how your physical capacity can actually take for that particular time.
All right, so sad we have to go right about now, but before we end the show, do you have any other thing you'd like to talk about? I mean, regarding the breastfeeding, we just celebrated breastfeeding week, World Breastfeeding Week, so final thoughts on breastfeeding in general.
No, I would just say that the government have done well by ensuring that we have 6 months of
maternity leave.
So we would also encourage the private sectors to also inculcate such, and not only maternity leave, paternity leave as well. Too is also very important, because you need all the support when you are breastfeeding. You need all the support. It's never too much. So because of that, so most importantly, private sectors, they should actually look into giving mothers enough leave away from work, so as to be able to initiate exclusive breastfeeding.
And mothers breastfeeding out there,
well, to mothers breastfeeding out there, you are doing great, and you can only do your best by actually giving exclusive breastfeeding. It's not just about giving the breastfeeding, exclusive breastfeeding
for 6 months,
for minimum
of 6 months. Yes. All right, thank you so much. You just had the voice of Dr. Olaoluwa Bolade from FMC Abeokuta, Ogun State. Thank you so much. You're like a family already. You're a friend already and a family. Thank you so much for joining me on the show this morning. Until next week, Wednesday, Healthy Living will be back again live on 88.1 Smash FM. Let nature take its cars to every woman out there. Keep living right. Good morning.